I remember when I got my first batch of baby chicks, I was so nervous to do everything right. So when it came time to buy their feed, I noticed that there was medicated feed and there was non-medicated feed. And I thought to myself, well, medicated feed must be better, right? Because, you know, it's medicated, so it must be helping them in some way. So I should probably get that. Well, hey guys, welcome to Chickenlandia. I am a backyard chicken educator here in the Pacific Northwest, but you can call me the president of Chickenlandia. I finally started decorating my coop. I don't want to show you the whole thing because I want to save it for when I really have it all done. But I put up my alien, my most important pictures. I was so fortunate when I first started out with chickens because I had a mentor that was a chicken farmer himself, and he came from generations of chicken farmers. And so he had a lot of knowledge that he was able to pass down to me. And I really respect that because I'm somebody that, you know, I lean pretty natural and traditional ways are really important to me. So I really had access to a lot of information that I think a lot of people don't have, especially if you're living in the city. You know, you're in an urban area and you don't have a lot of farmers around you where you can go and ask them advice about how to raise your chickens. So my mentor told me, you do not need to give your baby chicks medicated feed. So I didn't really question it that much. I just decided, you know, because since my early 20s, which was 100 years ago, I have been a very natural leaning person. I just accepted that, okay, I don't need to give my chickens this medication preemptively, so I'm just not gonna do it. Since then, I have learned a lot about the medication that is in medicated feed, and so I've learned the reasons why I think making this choice to not give it to your small backyard flock is really the best choice. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't think that there is a time and place for synthetic medications. I have given chickens medication before, but I will give my chickens medications when they actually need it. I never reach for synthetic medications first unless there is no alternative. So with all this in mind, let's talk about medicated feed, what it's used for, and why I ultimately feel better not giving it to my baby chicks. Medicated feed contains a preventative dose of a medication called amprolium. Amprolium is not an antibiotic. It is used for one thing with chickens, and that is to prevent and treat coccidiosis. So I know there's some confusion around it. A lot of people think that medicated feed is antibiotics, or you can give amprolium whenever chickens are sick with anything, but that is not the case. It is only to treat coccidiosis when you're giving it to chickens. Coccidiosis is an intestinal disease that can infect baby chicks and adult chickens, but mostly it infects baby chicks. Coccidia, which is present in, almost every chicken yard, it's a protozoa that is everywhere. The infection occurs when it has overwhelmed a baby chick or a chicken's intestinal tract. It's rarer for it to infect adult chickens, but it can happen. There was a time when coccidiosis was a really big problem for the poultry industry because, as you can imagine, the conditions in factory poultry houses are not good. So, a chicken would get infected, and then before you know it, the whole poultry house is infected, and it really affects the bottom line for the poultry industry when something like that happens. So basically, medicated feed for factory farms was like a godsend because it was a way to prevent coccidiosis from occurring in these poultry houses. But my chickens don't live in a poultry house. They don't live in a factory farm. And I know if you're watching this channel, that's not where your chickens live either. They live in completely different conditions where hopefully they're not stressed out, they're getting the right nutrition, they don't live in their own feces, and where they can be healthy. Coccidia needs certain conditions to become a danger to your flock. And when you have a backyard flock that has everything that it needs, these chickens that I have here, they have enough space, they're not stressed out, they're getting the right nutrition, then your chances of having an infection of coccidiosis goes way down. Now, it doesn't go to zero. It doesn't mean coccidiosis is never going to happen. And if it does, you should definitely medicate for it. And I do recommend using Amprolium in those situations. But your chances are so much lower that the benefits really don't outweigh the risks in feeding medicated feed preemptively to prevent coccidiosis. Amprolium can cause issues, and those issues can be long-term. They can remain with that chicken for the entirety of their life. Even though Amprolium is fairly safe, there is a level of risk that you're taking, and I don't think that level of risk is worth it considering the level of risk that you have to lose a bunch of chicks to coccidiosis. So if you want to know some natural ways of lessening your chances of having to deal with coccidiosis in your baby chicks or your chickens, and you want to know what to do if you do have to use Amprolium and you want to kind of mitigate some of those risks that come with it, I want you to click on this video right here. It's 100% friendly backyard chickens education and entertainment, and I know you're gonna love it.